have that with us. That's something that has not been discussed, swept under for decades. They are suffering under being victorious in their liberation. I'll stop right there, and we send our thoughts and our prayers, and inshallah, we send our money and our aid to help the Haitian people.
Inshallah.
This natural disaster called the earthquake.
Thank you so much for that historic background as well, because a lot of people don't know and are unaware of the history of what happened and the colonial aspect of, because they don't understand why Haitians speak French. Well,
Right. A lot of people were like, they're taken aback when je parle français très bien parce que je suis né en Haïti. So they're like, wait, what? You know what I'm saying? That is a beautiful segue Mr. Hamid did for me. Like, he just literally depicted my country to the T. We are a vast population that has a resilient bone in our body. Like, that's like, the bone is right here. Resilient. And, he said a lot of things that were very good for others to know. We are paying reparations to France that colonized us in 1804, and we beat them in a revolution war. So we are the first Black republic, and I'm so honored to say that, because we literally are the catalyst for every colored individual to know that you can do whatever you want. We are a revolution. This community is a revolution, and to bring forethought to the things that are happening in the world is what is needed. People are blinded by geography. They're blinded by history. They're blinded by, their own self preservation, their shelteredness. So we do have to bring the information out there and have them have a evoking thought, so that they can go to the alderman, go to a congressman, go to the higher ups, and find out what are the resources needed to recalibrate Haiti and its efforts. Because this is not the first earthquake that's happened. This is not the first rebuilding effort that's happened. This is not the first opportunity of corruption. There's a large corruption aspect that needs to be broken down. And saying that out loud gives information to other people that are not corrupt, that can go to Haiti and do the work and efforts that are needed, and not have a greedy mindset of, oh, let me fill my pockets with the donations that are coming in. Let me actually buy a bulldozer. Let me actually pave the roads. Let me actually give these children that are on the street food that have not ate in the last 3 to 4 days. It's been a devastating decade, for Haiti. Like, we can go on and on about that, but I'm saying, in retrospect, we have to do our due diligence in giving information correctly, in the right atmosphere, in the right sources, to the right people.
Absolutely. And a lot of times, we see a different attitude toward Haitian immigrants than immigrants from perhaps other countries, which has to do with ignorance, lack of understanding, lack of compassion, lack of knowledge of the history of what's happening there. So how do you see perhaps being able to tell the story from a perspective of a Haitian, maybe talking to a Haitian on your show, maybe having a Haitian who has some communication skills that can, everybody's got their own private camera now with a cell phone, being able to show literally what's happening. How do you see that as being able to sensitize people now that we have the technology to really, it's not just a matter of the big broadcast networks being able to bring us on the spot news of what's happening on the grounds in these situations, but the average citizen can actually garner the means to tell the world what's happening. So how do you see that as maybe affecting how people will respond to individuals when they can hear and see what's going on and be told the history, as Kareem just said, being able to educate people in a way they had not been told before? How do you think that's going to affect maybe their responses?
I feel as though it's gonna heighten. Go for it. Go for it.
Go for it. Go.
I feel like it's gonna heighten the sensibility and the you know intrinsic value of helping others, because an immigrant comes here, they're already in fear for their life. So having someone that has been through traumatic experience talk about what they've gone through on the front, field lines or whatever on our show, that would be an impactful thing. You would hear the emotion, you would feel the emotion from the person, and actually, destigmatize what you think a Haitian is, and so, and you can insert any culture in there. It doesn't have to be Haitian. It could be the Afghanistan people. The
Right.
Afghani government has been demolished, and you see the people's plight trying to get on that U.S. Air Force, fighter jet, and then they're at a wit's end. And so we need to be mindful of these immigrants that come from these battered, traumatic experiences, and be that what is that called, the sanctuary that lets them come to this country and be what they are meant to be. And like you said, creating a little platform in an intimate setting, not in a grand scale, but like, on Evolution Pop, on the female solution, we can bring that to people in an intimate setting, and then watch it fester and flourish to an even bigger snowball effect of getting resources, getting doctors, getting dentists, getting people out there that need hear it and help.
Ebony,
To that.
one of my goals. We'll go right ahead.
Mayor here in St. Louis, she's a young African American, very trifecta, and very insightful. She have invited 1,000 Afghans that they can settle here.
Wow.
Now, I was riding with a friend of mine yesterday, and that was announced. And my friend said, "Oh, they're going to be over here blowing stuff up."
Huh?
Absolutely. Just like people talk about us. But that's I mean, it's sad because a lot of people, they have that fear because of what they see on TV, just like what the world is told about us. All those people come over here, they guns shooting up everybody. I mean, that's what they believe about Black Americans. So we end up getting the same kind of distortion about other people. And this is why we need to be able to talk to each other. And that's always been my vision, to talk to the people that everybody's afraid of because because the media has told them that these people are the enemy. One thing I had envisioned, and just coming out of college, my goal was to be a foreign correspondent. And Ebony, I was going to ask you, because one of the things that we see a lot of times in different countries where there's war, there's violence, and very seldom do you see female reporters in those environments because sometimes it's dangerous. People have gotten killed. But there's a need, I think, for more female energy, being able to talk to people, to have that empathy and to show, especially, we always say, if women talk to each other, we can work this thing out. We don't have to fight it out. We can talk it out. We can work it out. But we got to be able to talk to each other and not be afraid of each other. And that means being willing to listen and understand the other side.
Absolutely, of course.
So now, if there were a part of the world where you felt like, wow, I'm scared of those people, but if I could learn something, maybe I could help, where would you see maybe being able to use your voice to make the kind of connections that would help us understand?
Well, personally, I'm a very open person. I am very big on building relationships, building bonds. I can't say that there's a person that I would ever be afraid of, just because we are all human. We bleed the same blood. Like, that's a big thing for me. I grew up in a mostly prominent Caucasian town, and that's like, it's not really a thing. I feel like knowledge is power. People are afraid because they don't understand. And it may not be because of a race or a state of immigration. It is more so, I believe, is because of lack of knowledge. People don't understand, like you said, what people are going through. People don't understand and don't have the empathy for those people in those situations. So, I mean, personally, what I've created the radio show for, and like to use it for, is just a platform for everyone. I always try to take out, I try to always keep out race and keep out anything that can create that sense of diversion or and inclusion, by staying away from those walls. I mean, it already just brings everyone in, and being able to talk about those situations, like what's going on in Haiti, and talk about those wars, but not about the negativity and all the deaths, but out of the, I guess you can say, I don't know, out of the people that are rising from those situations, out of those flowers that are growing in the rocks. If we could, like Marlon said, talk to those people and about their experience and feel what they felt and understand, I feel like the world would be a lot easier to live in, because people having that open realm of communication is a big thing. Like we discuss often, it's relationships. It could be in your home. There you can have a home war in itself because of that miscommunication. But once you take the time to understand someone's discrepancies, or understand what it is that gives them that fear or has them withdrawn, you take the time. If you notice that, break yourself down and be, I don't know, submissive to what the other person is saying, to show that you really care. I feel like it's all really about actually caring and actually wanting to know about other people. If you have that feeling that you can change the world with just a smile, like if you have that feeling like I can do anything, I just have to create those bonds. Like, just, you have to create the best avenue to do it. And I don't know, I just try my best to make it an area where everybody can feel inclusive, where nobody has to feel any type of fear or any type of, separation or anything like that.
That's a wonderful trait to have. Now, I didn't want to overwhelm you all. 2 hours of talking, but we do have an additional hour, and we have some callers that would like to speak to you. I don't know if your time permits. You have class this morning you need to get to, or can you spend another
time before class?
We have time.
Oh, great. Well, if you can stay with us after the break, that would be fantastic. We've got callers on the line, of course, and if you're listening online and want to chime in, give us a call, 515-605-9325 or 515-605-9891, and press 1. So light your number up on our switchboard, and we know you have something to say. We'll open your mic and get your thoughts. I see Mama AZ on the line. I think you were going to ask me something earlier. Press 1 if you have a question you'd like to ask our guests. We're talking to Marlon Mayhew and Ebony Trotter of the Illinois Media School, and they are showing us the power of speech. So we certainly are looking forward to a new generation of communicators and people who are able to cross traditional boundaries and perhaps make new friends across the water, across the land, across the globe, so that we can all be that one human family. So again, if you're listening online and want to join this conversation, give us a call, 515-605-9325. If you're on our switchboard, please press 1. So we know you have something to say. We'll bring you into this conversation. And if you're watching us live on Facebook, of course, simply write in your comments and we will share them with our listening and viewing audience. And we'll be right back after this quick break. So we want you to stick and stay. Don't stray away. We'll be back in a moment. Stay with us.
Are you constantly arguing with your spouse? Are your children misbehaving and acting out? Someone in your family abusing drugs? Have you been the victim of domestic violence? Are you grieving over the loss of a loved one? Let us help you restore serenity to your life. At Serenity Family Social Services, we understand that good mental health is a result of emotional well-being. Our goal is to assist you and your family in removing emotional distress and restoring harmony and balance to your lives. We offer individual, couples, and family counseling. I'm Howard Williams, CEO of Serenity Family Social Services. Call us today at 312-315-4820. That's 312-315-4820.
Oh man, God sent the monthly sun bill today. This sunlight is really expensive, especially during this season. I'll probably have to work overtime to pay it.
Well, you better pay it on time. We don't want the sun to go out and we're sitting up here all day in the dark. Wouldn't it be terrible if God charged us for sunlight? Well, thank God, the light and heat from the sun is free. So why are we paying such high bills for the energy we use in our homes? Because we don't know how to use solar energy, the free energy from the sun. You can convert your regular home to a solar energy home and save tremendously on your electric bill. Take a look at your electric bill. Would you like to reduce or possibly even eliminate that cost altogether? Let one of our solar consultants show you how. Call today, 312-849-3456. And schedule a free consultation. That's 312-849-3456.
Hi, this is Jaron Alexander.
And I'm Naima Aziz. Meet people like you who are making a positive difference in the world. Watch us every day on The Media Connection at www.youtube.com/The Media Connection TV.
YouTube, we'll see you soon.
There are people like you to make a positive difference in the world. Our job is to bring you their stories to motivate you to do the same. Join us each week, host John Alexander and Naima Latif, as we bring you the educators, entertainers, elected officials, religious leaders, and community activists whose works are transforming this world. Find out how you can make a difference too. Be inspired. Watch The Media Connection. Mondays at 5 p.m. and Tuesdays at 12 noon on cable TV channel 19 in Chicago. And other cities, check your local cable business.
And we are back. You're listening to and watching the Female Solution Global Radio TV show. I'm Naima Latif, along with my co-host Kareem Hamid and our American Muslim 360 family. And we are live here with Marlon Mayhew and Ebony Trotter, students at the Illinois Media School, where they are mastering the art of communication and this new technology, which is changing the world. So we've got a caller on the line that'd like to speak. So, Brother Kareem, I'm going to open up the mic for area code 863-816. Give us your name, where you're calling from, and your question or comment for our guests.
I just want to throw a stat out there, particularly, I think most people don't know it, particularly communication. In the United States, at least as of 2018, there were 19,495 incorporated communities around the United States. After that number, 14,768 have populations of below 5,000 people. And in my travels, a lot of those towns that have a population, which is the majority of the United States, a lot of those towns or communities didn't have any media outlets at all. I'll give you one example. Everybody's heard of Orlando, Florida, and Orlando, Florida has the Orlando Central, which is their main paper. But just 6 miles outside of Orlando, there's a historic black township that's been around for over 100 years called Eatonville. But most people have never heard of Eatonville, even the blacks that live in Florida. Why? Because Eatonville doesn't have really any media outlets. So there's a bunch of towns all across the United States, numbering in the thousands, that don't have. So if you're an innovator or a pioneer mindset, I would look at these smaller towns that have no media outlets, set up shop in those areas. Those are my comments.
Well, thank you,
Wow.
LA. So what do you think about that? It maybe going to a place and starting a company where there's a need and where people would be more receptive because we don't have any outlets. What are your thoughts on that?
Marlon, you
Ebony?
want to help? I'm sure. I personally, I find the challenge to be exciting. I feel like that type of situation could be very rewarding and very fulfilling just in the growth in itself. He said there's places with no type of media. So as you know, those people that produce media, we have to find what media would best sustain that environment, whether it be print or broadcast or radio, and just expand on that. I mean, it leaves us with a new environment for testing. And like I said, that education that really builds those bonds, starting in a place that that has no media, like he said, with such, I don't know, profound messages. Like there's a whole town that people don't know about. Like that's something that could really go speak volumes to a lot of people, and just expanding on the little things, each little piece makes a big picture. So that's my take on it.
Makes a big picture. That's true.
That was great. I would love to piggyback off that. With LA saying that, Eatonville has been around for 100 years and I haven't heard about it. That's kind of like, eye-opening. It's like, hey, maybe we need to put a spotlight on Eatonville, and like you said, bring a production team down there and see what happens. We can bring employment to that community. You never know. There could be a talent that has just been sitting there for years that is, waiting to break their media shell and so on and so forth. So that is a great way. See, this platform right here, Female Solution, has allowed us to learn that information. So the transition of information is superfluous within broadband. So I'm loving this. I'm loving that we're having the meeting of the minds on a live stream, and we're having live callers give us feedback on our content that we've created. So this is amazing. It's full circle. So
Yes, absolutely. It really broadens the mind as to the opportunities. Now, one thing that I think can really be enhanced. Yes, go right ahead.
Yes, we have a resident of Florida on the line now.
Yes.
I wanted to inform you of that.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Well, you know, that's one of the things that I think is helpful in that now communication is so boundless. You can find out about the people that you didn't even know existed before, and communities that you never knew existed. And there are so many places around the world that you never hear about. Now, there are places in the world where people live in such a way they don't need any money because everything is sharing and interaction and trading and service. And I've been made aware of communities like this, and I'm thinking, is it possible to take that level of trust and the spirit of service as opposed to let me benefit off of your suffering or your lack and exploit it, but thinking, how can I just give, and then we just always give and receive and no one have to pay anybody anything because we're just all one community. And I've been made aware of communities like that. And I'm thinking, well, now that we can talk to each other, can we possibly create such an environment where everybody feels like they know everybody, because it's almost like everybody's got a Facebook page. So it's almost like there are no strangers. Do you think it's possible with the technology that we have to really become friends over a distance? Can we maybe even translate that to the way we do business, the way we help each other, the way we trust each other, so that we can, like some of these smaller communities, actually live in a way where we don't need money. We just help our neighbors. What is your thought on that? Yeah.
You know, I'm intrigued by what was shared about the community in Florida. Everyone that is listening to this broadcast now, well, not everyone, but the majority are listening by way of cell phone.
Yeah.
It would not be necessary to go there, set up a big radio station or a platform. Just almost everyone has a cell phone.
So it needs cell phone towers.
And,
yeah.
We are sharing information now. This is an educating platform, and what our guests are sharing with us, people are hearing that by cell phone. Well, it's just a simple matter of informing the people of the get them to call them, and they can access.
That's true.
And not only here, they can communicate with everyone that has a cell phone in this area.
That is true.
We have a resident of Florida, as I mentioned earlier, on the AM364. She is the executive director of the Tennessee Sugar Company.
Yes. Absolutely. Yes. So, you're trying to speak? Is she ready to speak yet?
it's kind of choppy, guys. It's kind of hard hearing you.
Alaikum assalam to everyone.
Walaikum salam.
Sound a little better.
And our guests, praise be to Almighty God, and their being is welcome to this process and now in your office of media. I'm Martha Nyla, calling from St. Petersburg, Florida. Florida is pretty much the Solidale we play on the peninsula. Just directly to the point about media and praise be to Almighty God, we would love to connect with you all as well through Naima and continue the media relationship. But yes, here in Florida, our county officials and all, and 25 million people as the population continues to grow, and we're supporting our economy. But our rural community, our center of Florida, rural community, actually, is exceeding a lot of the country. But the incident aspect is totally incident. We had to have marches and all for even health clinics and such right here in this state of Florida. The idea of internet as well as so streamline access to having cell phones, but people working in rural areas are not so concerned with that as they're getting food on the table and clothes and these things. Oh, Florida, let's go vacation. There. It's growing, but it is still needs expansion in those rural areas. From the farm to Florida to the center to each end.
Yeah, I think that's one of the challenges that we have in one of the communities, the rural communities here in Illinois, Pembroke, where we've been trying to make these connections with a community of Black farmers and, getting direct food distribution to some of the struggling in the urban area. But the internet service isn't always as reliable, and that's one of the challenges that we have, where rural residents may not have cell towers built where they live. And then there's so much concern about electromagnetic waves going through the air everywhere we live, how is this affecting our health? And yet the communication benefits that come from instant access to the internet, it makes us figure out ways to spread the technology to those rural areas that don't get reached. And like LA was saying, you have some communities where they may not have anything, no radio, no TV, no internet. I think about, when they're too young to remember Green Acres, we had to crawl up on the
Green Acres is the place for me.
Yes.
Familiar.
So yeah, some places is almost like that, So, but as you say, most people have a cell phone, and that is where you can communicate instantly. So now that being said, let me ask our guests this, because I think one of the people that Troll interviewed, I think she was a media buyer, and she was explaining how things have changed from the days when you had newspapers and magazines, and you had maybe a day delay, when news happened, and then it's in tomorrow morning's newspaper. Well, now when news happens, it's instantly on your cell phone. Instantly, you find out what happened. And sometimes news gets put out there that might have some errors. So how much pressure is it on you to get things right the first time? Get names spelled right, get facts right, because once you put it out there, it's there. You don't have time to review and correct because it's all instant, and people getting it instantly on the device. They're carrying this communication device with them everywhere. Instantly, it pops up on their cell phone. So as a person in the communications industry, how much pressure is it on you to get the facts right the first time because it's too late once it gets out there? How do you make sure that happens?
I think doing research thoroughly and doing your due diligence prior to your live stream or your radio production, you should definitely do in-depth due diligence and finding out what the story is about. What is the focal point of the story and how does it help others? Those are the three main things that I like to do when I'm bringing forth a story. And I feel as though that would always allow me to be concise, clear, and not bring false information. Because once you bring false information, you lose credibility. And so once you lose the credibility, your viewers might not always, view you as credible. So you have to be steadfast in finding the right information, um, researching, and due diligence. That's my free tip.
Yeah. A couple of months ago, there was this rumor that came out of nowhere that the mayor of this city was going to resign because of some big scandal, on her personal life and all that. And it came across my phone, and I think it was on. I think it was Monday to be on the show, to host the show. And I thought about mentioning it, and I said, "Well, no, let me wait because I don't know for sure that it's true." And it was a major story, but then later on we found that it was false. And I'm thinking that all those people who repeated that rumor, and I don't even know the origins of it, might have been probably one of her political enemies that put it out there. But everybody who put that out there, as you say, they lost credibility. So it used to be, well, it must be true because it's in the newspaper. It must be true. Now people are, it must be true. I saw it online. But see, that doesn't necessarily mean anything. Anybody can put anything online. So when you research, how do you make sure that your sources that you use are credible and you're not repeating a rumor that someone started to do on Facebook or Instagram or something, and it's just a lie, fake news? How do you approach that and make sure?
Well, as broadcasters, it's our job to provide people with the proper information. I think that's when it's our time to step up and really start to do that research and find out what the real story is. I get excited about a lot of things. So on my certain segments, I want to report things, but I will spend upward to an hour if I have to find the proper information, because I don't want to end up telling my people, like Marlon said, losing the credibility, because once you lose credibility, then you lose your audience and your message isn't as potent as it would be initially. So,
Yes. Well, go ahead. Yeah, breaking news. Yeah. Yes.
It should be researched and the genesis of our source.
Definitely.
And I want to also say that we do check a lot of news sources too. A lot of news sources are our best friend.
Oh, well, that's good. That's
Those are the
good.
big ones. Yeah.
Definitely have to have sources that have an inside track. So I'm sorry, Kareem, you have a caller on the line?
Yes.
Okay, go right ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm Muhammad from Georgia, and you're breaking up real good on that. I don't know if y'all know that or not, but those of us who are listening, I got a lot of echo and everything in your background.
Okay, let me make sure I close all the mics. I do hear an echo.
But now my voice is getting.
Yeah,
Two sources do you use?
No, I'm sitting in my car. I'm sitting in my car. but anyway, you sound a little better when you speak.
Okay, I do hear a little bit of an echo. I'm trying to figure out where that might be coming from. Yeah, what you got to try to figure out the audio and everything. Okay. Yeah, I am hearing an echo. So I don't know. You might need to close a mic because his voice might be coming through on somebody else's open mic. Make sure Martha Nyla's mic is still closed.
Martha Nyla is no longer with us.
Okay.
Muhammad, okay,
Okay.
Okay, now it sounds better.
So that's Muhammad from Georgia. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Anyway, it made me think about when you do your research, it made me think about the weather chasers and all of that mobile equipment that they have. It's a good vehicle to go to the urban communities for broadcasting and introduce them to the services that y'all are providing on 360, and also to interview the people there in those urban communities. They'll have a chance to talk to the world through y'all. You're looking at generators, how to amp your power so that the telephone service that you have and bring it to that urban area will have the pull down power for clear communication with the urban community. And then once they see that you're coming there maybe on a regular basis to visit them and share with them the opportunity to touch more bases with the outside world or the inside world of their environment, then you can look at the funds that are available for 360 and other communication people who are willing to go out and make sure that the urban communities have the opportunity to stay abreast of the world event. And that will help them establish the type of lines and bounce off poles and things they need to make their communication clearer. But we could use, but 350 can have something like the weather chasers, the mobility, and like some of the new stations are doing now, they're having more mobile power, so they can drive to the areas where there's no sources and be that source for them.
Well, that makes sense. Well, let me ask our guest this question. With the Illinois Media School, does it also get into some of the technological skills, such as hooking up sound systems? You know, being you specialize in certain things like an audio technician, or being able to, you know, repair a problem with a computer system or software. How deeply into the technological aspect does the Illinois Media School take students?
Sure. So we have blocks. So it's an 8-month program, and each month we have 4 weeks of work. So each week is dedicated to different aspects. So the first month we started with Adobe Audition and Adobe Premiere, which is the sound engineering and the film production aspect of media. So we learned how to create commercials for radio stations. So we learned how to sound engineer our own voices on Adobe Audition and really tailor it to the company of our choosing. So we chose different companies, different restaurants, and we made commercials for them. So that was fun. We've then delved into green screen work. So we know how to do green screen manipulations, keying frames in software. Livestream. The Livestream software is what we use for our streaming services. So we know how to do that. When it comes to building sound stages, we know the XLR cables to the sources to the mics. So there is a lot that we have learned in the 8-month block that we've been at this school, and they have other emphasis classes that let you really fine tune film production and or audio engineering. So it is a very great institute when it comes to encompassing all realms of media, not just being on air talent, but being a production assistant, being a floor executive producer, being a director. The list goes on and on. So it was an amazing experience.
Mm. And one thing that I was impressed about the Illinois Media School is that it's right in the heart of the community at 3711 South Ashland, and this facility is accessible. The entire building has so many different schools of training and learning, and this is really what is going to make an impact, I think, on the economy for this generation of people coming up that are preparing to start families and so forth. There's a need for skills. There's a need for skills that are useful in today's world. And so the Illinois Media School is so much needed because the communication is such a big industry and such a growing industry. So to have that facility where it's accessible to people in the inner city, and it's a program that once you finish it, you have some life skills, you have some experience. I think that's a critical thing. So we need more of that. We need more places where young people are coming out of high school or maybe going to finish years, but have real skills that can empower them. Because you can take this skill and you can create your own company, you can work for another company, but however you do it, you have a skill, and that's the critical thing, having a skill that people need, that they will pay you for, or they will hire you for, or they will seek you out, and it can sustain you. And this is what is going to make a difference. Now we got to take one last break, and I know we've got a couple more callers on the line. And of course, if you're on our switchboard now, please press 1. And when we come back, if you all can stay with us for this last 25 minutes.
I just want to say one thing, Naima. I just want to correct a little error. So we're in 105 West Adams. So we were at a trade school convention at AIM, the Aviation Institute of Maintenance. So right there, we're just, clearing up the corrections.
All right. So
yeah,
your location is, again, where is that location again?
105 West Adams, Suite 1900 in Chicago, and 455 Eisenhower Lane in Lombard, Illinois. So there's 2 campuses in Illinois. There's a campus in Ohio, Colorado, Miami, and I believe I'm missing one. So type in the Beyond Air Network. You'll see all the schools that are aligned with the Beyond Air Network.
Beyond Air Network. Okay. Well, that is great. Well, because I attended an event, I guess, hosted by the Aviation.
What is
it? The Aviation School of Maintenance.
Yeah, Aviation School of Maintenance, and AIM, Aviation Institute of Maintenance, I think. Yes.
Yes, correct.
And they hosted a lot of different schools,
trade
schools, to kind of give us a showcase of what is available. And you can learn skills and not necessarily have to go to a 4-year institution before you can start working. And Illinois Media School was one of those that were showcased, and we got a chance to see how many of the students are learning and experiencing their craft. And so you can start your career without having to go through 4 years of training. And these trade schools are going to be critical for jumpstarting our economy as we evolve out of this pandemic and get back into the work world. So we're going to take this last break, and we'll be right back and take more of your calls. And if you're listening online and want to join this conversation, give us a call, 515-605-9325. Press 1. when you want to speak. And if you're watching us live on Facebook, of course, feel free to write in your comments and we'll share them with our listening audience. And we will be right back after this last break. So stay with us.
I'm Naima Latif, executive producer of the Female Solutions Global Radio TV show. We are a part of the online network of Associated Internet Radio hosts, On Air. On Air empowers you with transformative news and interactive radio TV shows. This is such a wonderful time to be alive and to see our human family coming together as one community as a result of that powerful tool, the internet. We can now talk directly to each other all over the world. There's no need for conflict or misunderstanding. There's no need for violence to solve our differences. We can talk to each other face to face until we reach an agreement. On Air offers a fantastic global guide to communicators from all over the world who are using their internet platform to inspire us to strive to be our best selves in order to become the kind, compassionate, loving people we were all born to be. Once we do that, we'll see planet Earth transformed into a place of peace. Subscribe to the recommended YouTube channels, Facebook pages, and podcasts created by these Voices of Enlightenment. On Air provides daily news briefs and a weekly magazine to keep you abreast of events and opportunities. On Air news affiliates in television, radio, and print share information, insight, and interviews with notable personalities. Go to onaireverywhere.com for a daily dose of uplifting news. We're on air everywhere, online all the time. I'm Beata, your holistic life coach. These days, it's more important than ever to work on your physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health. Are you consciously breathing deeply in stressful moments? Do you have a plan or daily routine to maintain balance in your awesome body? Are you struggling to be disciplined in your eating habits? When you partner with me, I'll help you develop a personalized health plan that works for your particular lifestyle. You can find out more about me at yourholisticlifecoach.com, where you can also review my 3-step protocol to guide you to abundant health. That's yourholisticlifecoach.com, and I'm Beata. Have you ever dreamed of going to exotic places, meeting fascinating people, enjoying uplifting music, and spending nights in a luxurious hotel? Do you look forward to a relaxing vacation where you can walk along the beach or sit in a quiet park and enjoy the sunset or sunrise? Whether you're flying around the world or driving across the country, we will share travel tips that will help you stay safe while you enjoy the journey. Join me every third Saturday of the month, 12 noon to 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, and move around with Deborah here on the Female Solutions Show. Call in and comment 515-605-9325 and press 1 to speak.
And we are back for our last portion of the Female Solution Global Radio TV show. I'm Naima Latif, along with our co-host, Kareem Hamid, and our guest today, Ebony Trotter and Marlon Mayhew of the Illinois Media School. And this is a place that you can learn some cutting edge skills and enter the field of communication. If you, like many people, want to be an Oprah or people, everybody
That's her dream. You said her key word. That is her dream.
Oprah, but better is what I like to say. I need all the networks, TV, radio.
Right, because nowadays you got to be able to do it all, and people think it's easy being able to keep a conversation going, ask the right questions, make sense, not stutter. It really takes some concentration, and sometimes my biggest thing is to speak without saying and my speech teacher called it vocalized pauses. So to be able to speak fluently and to be able to carry a thought and have a conversation that is interesting, it's not as easy as it looks, especially when you have to be multitasking, as we often are. You have to be watching cues, signals, sometimes operating switchboards if you're doing radio as well. And nowadays you are doing, most of it is radio, TV. Sometimes you're operating a lot of different aspects of communication. But one thing I wanted to ask you about that I think being in a situation where you probably interact with a lot of different groups, different ethnic groups and so forth, I would think that because we tend to have a more diverse population or diverse interaction, that there would be less stereotypes and more harmonious interaction between various so-called racial groups. What has been your experience in terms of the people that you've grown up with? I think, Ebony, you said you grew up in a predominantly white community. And of course, Marlon, you're from Haiti, which is a whole nother cultural experience. But what has been your experience in interacting with people, say, Hispanic, Asian, European background? Is it a lot less prejudice, I should say? What has been your experience?
I grew up in Glenview, Illinois, so that is also a predominantly white neighborhood. So when I was growing up in that neighborhood, they never really showed color. You know what I'm saying? Like, we grew up as children. Our innocence was blinded by the racial, blurred lines that may be. So, growing up, I never really took prejudice to that level. I always saw the person in front of me, not the color. So it really brought my internal compass to, be just me. I just have to be me, because that's all I can be, is me. And it doesn't matter if it's this, if it's white, if it's purple, brown. We speak the same. We bleed the same, like Ebony said. We're the same. Like it culturally, we're not the same, but humanistically we are. So that's my take on prejudice. I never really saw it, but like I know that it's out there, and I know that we have to work on the people that don't have the perspective that that Ebony may have, because of the way that we were brought up.
So Ebony, what's been your experience?
I believe growing up where I have, it's given me just an opportunity to just be that much more open to other cultures and their, diversity and just different experiences. Like Marlon said, like we got the privilege of growing up as just kids, you know. I find that the racial thing has definitely grown a lot in these last few years, more so than it has been just in the past, because coming where I'm coming from, you know, if there was a racial stereotype, um, more so, you know, it's those people that weren't even facing those stereotypes that were the ones educating others about, like, why are you saying that? Like, you just think because some person's a certain type of way that this is how they behave or this is how they act. And that was, it was beautiful to me, because that was a culture I was able to grow up in. And I feel like not only myself, but my entire community, it's just, it's a welcoming place. And, you know, by just demolishing, because, you know, everybody has stereotypes. It's whether or not you're going to feed into them. Like, of course, yes, they exist, but do they exist within your own mind and your own perspective? And are you willing to, you know, unlearn those previously taught behaviors? Because, like I said, they get that from previous education. You know, everything is taught and everything is learned. So if someone's not taught any different and they don't know any different, then they probably are more susceptible to, you know, distribute those stereotypes, because they haven't been in an atmosphere or culture when those stereotypes aren't prevalent. So in order for them to not even, those people are stereotyped themselves, you know, we just have to break down all the walls together. And I appreciate my community for, you know, the young woman it's raised me to be. And my mom.
Well, and Beata has joined us here on Facebook Live. Beata is our Friday morning health and well-being with Beata. One thing that I was observing, even when we had a lot of the Black Lives Matter protests, a lot of it was led by young people of various racial, ethnic backgrounds, various nationalities. And
we had one.
There was mostly the millennials that were kind of spearheading it. I noticed a lot of times when there is still holding on to prejudice, it tends to be older people. And it tends to be people that either have been kind of brainwashed by the old media stereotypes, or people who didn't grow up in a diverse community. So is there a way to reach the older generation that in some ways is still holding on to prejudice as a way of life? Or do we just have to wait for them to just, you know, kind of die out? I mean, what do you think is it possible for them to learn?
Marlon, if you don't mind, I'd like to start this one. Well, I have a Nana, my grandma Gwen. And yes, I mean, it is possible, but with the older generation, you know, they are kind of stuck in their ways. It's just depending on their openness and their willingness to understand that those stereotypes maybe aren't so prevalent as they used to be. I know experiencing things with my Nana is way different than experiencing things with my grandma Gwen, because I guess my Nana gets out more in the community. She's more social, but my grandmother, she's more so home-ridden. So she doesn't get that exposure, and she doesn't get to see the world for what it's become and what it's evolved into. So she's mostly susceptible to the media and the news. So it's always that media projection, what's placed in their head. So she doesn't see the positive stories. All she sees is another cop shooting another child, or another racial charged crime. Like, there is so many more, I don't know, stories and outlets that aren't being, I don't know, given to the people in order for them to understand. It's like, sometimes it seems as though that people want those behaviors to stay. And I think if we just keep pushing as, you know, younger people to educate the people that we love and care about, they'll understand, because they see how passionate we are and how beautiful the world can be when we talk about inclusion and connections. And I personally get overjoyed, and I know they sense that, which is why they are more open to the things that I say and my ideals, and, you know, that sense of communication.
Yes.
Well put.
Yes, go ahead, Kareem. Go ahead.
Yeah, we hear the terminology AI now.
Artificial intelligence.
It's artificial intelligence. Now, they are speaking of robotics in that field. But why would they use the terminology artificial intelligence? Well, the people that coined that phrase, they are pointing to what has occurred and what we have been living under. Intelligence means our way of thinking. And our thinking has been artificial.
Oh.
It has been constructed by those that are the enemy to human beings. And they give us color coding to identify each other by color code, which is an artificial construct. And we have been operating under artificial intelligence. And now Almighty God has moved us to what we have been speaking of here, a universal and global vision. And global vision. We are moving from out of the artificial construct to the original intelligence. That humanity is one.
Yeah.
And Almighty God says to us in the Quran that He has created you various colors, nations, and tribes, so that you become familiar with each other. And from that familiarity and that interaction, we are enjoying shared benefits of each culture, each race. We are deriving benefits from each group that brings that have housed within them their culture, their benefits, and we are all sharing in that. We are one soul, one humanity, but we have been operating under an artificial intelligence, an artificial way of thinking, and from how we think dictates our behavior and how we view one another. We are moving from out of artificial intelligence to the original way of thinking, the original intellect, that we are one humanity. And the millennials and those like me, I'm from out of that artificial construct, and we represent a new mind, a new way of thinking, a new way of viewing the world and us in it. And it is growing. No one can stop it. There will be outlashes and trying to hold on to the artificial construct. But when God has willed a thing, there is not a power on earth to stop it. So there are people that don't like me, and our young people are recognizing the original way of thinking. And we will no longer, those shoes do not fit. That small box that we were all put in, that's not
First out.
Right.
Right. Well,
mobility and our movement forward.
yes.
The
But
more we interact with each other, the more similarity we
yes,
will see, and we will realize benefit.
absolutely.
I refuse to be
Yes.
trapped in that color code identification.
Well, that's the thing. You know that's the thing, Kareem, that I'm hoping that we even change the language that's used, because we get stuck in identifying ourselves as minority or some other kind of denigrating thing. And I think we need to do away with descriptions that have to do with your color or your place on the earth where you were born, because none of that defines who you are. I think Reverend Jackson said if someone can define you, they can confine you. Meaning they keep you small. They say, well, you're only a this and you're just a that. And
we're nothing of the sort.
That's right. We're a soul, which is limitless.
Absolutely.
Right. So we need to let go of the oppressive language.
We move from the oppressive language to the liberating language.
I like that. Liberating language.
Yes.
Right. Speak liberating language. So tell us, Marlon and Ebony, what's on for your show this Friday? What will you all be addressing?
That's a good question.
Oh, Marlon, you wanna?
Sure. So this Friday in Marlon's Closet, we will be talking about Ray-Bans. We're going to be talking about the designer behind Ray-Bans and where the Wayfarers came to be. And we're also going to be talking about our glizzy review that we had. So glizzy is a hot dog. We do hot dog reviews. And so we went to Flips this past Friday. So we're going to be talking about our time at Flips and giving a review and the address for that. And what are we talking about with the horoscopes on Born Today with Ebony Jade?
So we got the horoscopes with Born Today with Ebony Jade. It's almost Virgo season.
Oh.
But something we have our big segment, Chit Talk Chicago, which we're going to cover what we did at the Aviation Institute. We're going to talk about C-SPAN. We're going to go into big details about that. Lollipop culture this week, you actually kind of gave me more so of an idea of kind of the topic of it. And it's more so gossip and rumors and their relation into culture and how those negative messages kind of spread so much faster than those positive messages. And just trying to find some different ways to portray those positive messages and get those better messages across. So it's always a juxtaposition between my take and Marlon's take on all aspects of everything that we talk about. And him and I are two very different people. So it creates that, a bunch of different aspects. Very dynamic aspect of the show. So, and if you want to,
can we tune in? Where do we go to listen in?
Yes, if you want to tune in, you can follow, or you can watch us live on Facebook. So that's facebook.com/The Radio Show, or on my page personally, facebook.com/Ebony Jade. We also go live on evolutionpop.com. And that is so you could just hear us. If you want to put us in your headphones, you want to hear us through your speakers in your car, you're more than welcome to do that as well. And if you miss it.
And if you have the TuneIn app.
Yeah. And if you miss it.
TuneIn app as well.
All right. Well, we'll be listening in. Well, thank you all so much. And thanks to my wonderful co-host, Kareem Hamid. And thanks to all who listened in and called in, and join us tomorrow for Dr. Debbie. We're going to hear Soulful Solutions with Dr. Debbie Green. Join us right here on the Female Solution Global Radio TV show. I'm Naima Latif.
Thank you so much.
Tomorrow. And thank you. And we'll hear you on Friday.
Have a great week. We'll hear you on Friday. Thank you so much.
All right.
Bye.
You.
Bye, Kareem. Thank you, Miss Naima. Look forward to hearing from you guys.
Bye, Kareem.
That's www.naimalatif.com. Watch our TV shows, listen to our radio shows, order our books, and be sure to get your copy of the book, The Female Solution. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to thank all of you who participated in today's discussion. And to our global family listening from all around the world, we say thank you. To our family in China, Sheshe, India, Zanzibar, Japan, Arigato, Korea, Kamsahamnida, Russia, Spasiba, Germany, Danke, Poland, dziękuję. France, merci. Spain, gracias. Italy, grazie. Egypt, shukran. Ghana, nadasi. Nigeria, eshe. South Africa, Nyabonga. Senegal, Gere. Kenya, asante. Israel, toda. Pakistan, shukran. Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye, Shakur. Saudi Arabia, shukran. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you. Peace be upon you and the mercy of God and God.